Welcome to Always Sunny in Hollywood, the podcast that has officially gone to the dogs. My name is Patrick.
I'm Lugia.
And I'm Drum Arts.
So is the
I
dog
I
like
didn't know
on fire or
I didn't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know what to do for an intro. Like I don't know. You're given a prompt intro. What would you do?
I don't know. How would you even introduce a movie like this?
Oh my god, the
Uh,
dogs are burning! They're burning!
there is
Ah!
no burning dog. There is no burning dogs in this movie. Right, yeah. Today we're talking about everyone's favorite movie, Firehouse Dog.
You're crazy if you haven't even
Uh,
heard of this movie, which makes me clinically insane.
but before we get to that, Red, I believe you had some things you want to say.
So Donald Sutherland passed away. I don't know if we've ever talked about any of his work on the show before, but he's a very prolific actor. Probably best known, well, nowadays he's probably best known for his work on the Hunger Games films. That's what I imagine you guys have seen him in. But he's in loads of stuff. Classic films like Don't Look Now, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Ordinary People, Animal House, Clute. Just tons of classic flicks, Dirty Dozen of Kiefer Sutherland. So, Kentucky Fried Movie. Everyone heard of that one? I don't know if you
I've
have.
heard of. I never saw it though.
Heard of? Yeah, same.
Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. How old was he when he passed away? Let me double check that. I didn't
I think
check.
he was in his 90s, unless I'm mistaken.
88.
Okay, I'm a little off.
Yeah, rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So some brief stuff. Briefly go over this. The Tony Awards happened. I did not sit down and watch them, but I did see the list of winners, and I'm happy to say the big winner of the night was Stereophonic. It won 5 awards, including Best Play. But this is what I'm happy to say: the winner of Best Musical was The Outsiders. Not only that, it didn't actually sweep the awards. It won 4. It won Best Musical, Best Direction, Best Lighting Design, and Best Sound Design. Yeah, it only won 4 awards, which I'll be honest, I'm happy because I don't really like it when one show or one movie or whatever sweeps an entire award season. Like, good for the team and everything, but I don't know. It's just I like diversity among winners. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, honestly, that's fair. It is pretty boring if like there's just like one winner. It's like, yeah, fucking outsiders again. It's just all the way through. And it's like can we at least like give someone else a chance here?
I will
Well,
say though that one Oscar where Lord of the Rings won every single award was very fucking funny. Like if it's either you win every single award or you don't. Like if you just win a majority, but like then it's like, what's the point, you know?
yeah, hey, sometimes when even like one nomination, you can still get it. For example, at this year's Tonys, for example, The Great Gatsby musical was nominated for 1 award, and it won it. It won Best Costume Design. Even one nomination, you still got a chance. I would ask your further thoughts on this, but I doubt you guys have any thoughts about the Tonys.
No, it's cool that The Outsiders is relevant again though.
I still need to see it. One of my friends has seen it. I think she saw it twice actually. She said it is every bit as good as you've probably heard.
I'll probably have to see it then.
I would love to see it, but I mean, because it won Best Musical, its ticket prices are probably going up.
You should have seen it when you had the chance.
I will, one of these days. But to wrap things up, something we can all talk about. There was a Nintendo Direct, and my God, they finally did it. They finally unveiled Donkey Kong Country Returns HD on the Switch. Hell yeah!
Donkey Kong Country returns again.
Again, because it was also on the 3DS. And that's what they're porting, kind of. At least they're taking all the content from the 3DS version and putting it on Switch. That is it. That is the huge deal. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I'm kidding. The big announcement was a new Mario Party, baby! Super Mario Party Jamboree! Woo!
They should have brought back
But okay.
Coconut Mall as a board. I'm just saying.
Okay, in all seriousness, the actual big thing, the big capper of this whole presentation was that they finally unveiled footage of Metroid Prime 4, or as it's now called, Metroid Prime 4 beyond.
We've waited like what 7 years for this, and this was
7 years.
this was like during the whole restart process where Nintendo wasn't happy with how the game was coming along, so they said, you know what, we're gonna start from scratch and we're gonna get Retro Studios back in to actually work on the game this time. And you know what? Miyamoto said a delayed game is eventually good, so I mean, I'm hoping this holds true because I played Prime 1 for the first time recently, and it is probably one of the best video games ever made. I can't say anything about 2 and 3, but I know people love those games. I'm hoping Prime 4 is just as good.
What do you think of what they showed of Prime 4?
It looks fantastic for one. It's cool that they brought back Silux from Prime Hunters, which is a game not a lot of people have played, but I'm curious to see where they go from here.
I don't have any thoughts.
I thought you would, because haven't you played Metroid Prime?
The 2D ones, I have Metroid Prime. I believe Lugia gave it to me, but I haven't played it yet.
You should play it though.
have
It's
you
really good.
Did you see the trailer for Prime 4?
No, I didn't watch the Nintendo Direct.
Oh, okay. So
I did hear that a new Mario and Luigi game came out, so that's cool.
And this is after
yes,
Alpha Dream went bankrupt.
Mothership.
It's
Yeah, apparently they also they like rehired a lot of that staff, so
Oh,
it's
that's
the same
nice.
people from Understand.
all right. Do we know what team is working on it? Since Alpha Dream is
No,
Rest in peace.
Nintendo when asked, Nintendo just didn't give the name. They just said that people who worked on the previous games are working on it now, so
it's
that's all
so
we know.
funny though that we've gotten games from like all 3 pillars of Mario RPGs in the same year, because we got a Mario RPG remake, then we got a Thousand Year Door remake, and now we have a new Mario and Luigi game.
So it's a prime time to be a Mario RPG fan.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
You're getting all of it.
A Metroid Prime time.
There were also a couple other standout moments, at least for me, with the Direct. One of them being
Yeah,
the
go for it.
return of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, since they're having a fighting game collection from Marvel. So the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is like the big one. There's a couple other games. The X-Men arcade game is also getting re-released. And if you don't know what that is, that's where the infamous "Welcome to Die" line from Magneto comes from. And it is a pretty fun game to play with friends.
Yeah, I have it.
They're also making a new Danganronpa game, but
I'm like 90% sure that we played like the X-Men arcade game at my place once.
I'm pretty sure we did, yeah.
Yeah, because when Xbox Arcade was a thing and they just put up a bunch of old arcade games, I just like bought them all up because I knew they were going to take them down eventually. And I was right. They did take them down eventually, so.
They're also making a new Danganronpa game, but it's not called Danganronpa. It's the same premise though, where like 16 students are trapped in a high school and there's a bear attack. But it's a video game this time.
Yeah, so I think what happened is the guy who made Danganronpa, he doesn't work for the company anymore, so yeah. It's one of those deals.
So it's like a spiritual successor kinda.
Yeah, basically. Wasn't there like this one Danganronpa like game that came out like
I think it
a
was
year or two ago that had like the Pokemon art style?
Pokemon art style. I don't know about that. I know Raincode was a thing and that had the Danganronpa art style, and it was also a visual novel. I wouldn't know about the Pokemon art style one though, if it is a different game.
I have
Anyway.
one more comment I want to make. Actually, a question, going back to Metroid Prime 4 for a second. Do you guys think that's going to be another Breath of the Wild situation where they release it on Switch and Switch 2?
Maybe, considering that we're kind of very late into the Switch's lifespan. We'll just have to see though. They didn't announce anything for the next console, so it's a little hard to say. Also, speaking of Zelda, we're getting a new Zelda game, and it's a top-down one too. And it's a sequel to Wand of Gamelon for the CDI. No, I'm just kidding. But you get to play as Zelda in this one, and I don't think they've ever really done that in an official game before.
It's pretty cool.
And
Yeah.
it looks like they're taking some inspiration from Tears of the Kingdom, because you could like take other objects and like use them as weapons. So at the end of the game, you could throw a table at Ganondorf.
And they're building on top of that Link's Awakening engine, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
Like it's cool you're playing as Zelda, but part of me also wishes that you could play as like one of their like alter egos, like Sheik or Tetra or that fucking like Al from Fullmetal Alchemist shit she had going on in Spirit Tracks. Yeah.
I know you're a big fan of the top-down Zelda games. Do you think you'd like this one?
Maybe. I haven't played the Link's Awakening remake. If it's good, I might check it out.
Anything else to add about the Nintendo Direct? Anyone?
I feel like there was one more thing and I'm forgetting what it was. Oh yeah, they brought back Nintendo Switch Sports from the brink of death because everyone fucking forgot about that game.
I
They
didn't
put in
know that
basketball.
existed. I don't
It's
think anyone knew that existed because they thought 1-2 Switch was the sports game.
well, no, because like later on they made Nintendo Switch Sports which was supposed to be like Mii Sports, but you couldn't use your Mii's, and no one
Yeah,
liked
but
it.
I never even heard of that game, I'll be honest. I don't
Really?
know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, okay. Here's what I was thinking of. We're getting the Ace Attorney Investigations collection. So I have played Investigations 1, the first game. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. The second game, however, was never released outside of Japan. There was a fan translation you could play for some time, but now it's actually getting an official translation, and it's being brought over to the West, which is pretty cool. And there's this whole controversy surrounding one of the characters because his name was changed. Before he was called Sebastian de Best, and he would like make jokes like "I'm the best prosecutor" or something like that. His name now is Eustace Winner, which I think is just supposed to be like useless winner. So it's gonna be a little interesting to see how they change the script for that name. I don't know. Do you guys know anything about Ace Attorney?
Yeah, I
Uh,
played the original trilogy.
Only thing I know is you are not just the clown, you're the entire circus.
Do you know
Otherwise,
Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas?
I don't.
Okay,
Did
because
you
that's
know
also
that?
from Ace Attorney.
Did you know that in the most important that in basically the climax of the first game, they put a parrot on the stand?
Ace Attorney is a
Really?
fucking wild series. You should try it.
Uh, I believe it.
Yeah, one of my friends is actually going through the series right now. He's on the, I believe, the third one. Yeah, he's on the third. He's on the last mission of the third one.
So yeah, all around, a lot of interesting things came out of the direct. Obviously, Metroid is the biggest one, but a couple other things too were nice standouts.
Oh, is it now time we talk about everybody's favorite movie?
Yep.
Right. Firehouse Dog, baby. The millennial classic. All seriousness, you guys have never heard of this movie before, have you?
No, I
No.
never even fucking knew it existed until you brought it up last week. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I saw this movie when it came out in theaters. I remember like four things. Otherwise, this was completely wiped from my mind. And I only recently just remembered it existed. Don't ask me what caused me to remember. It just happened that I'm like, oh, why not?
You saw
It's always
Firehouse
fun.
Dogs and just got a vision.
I guess so. Yeah. Some kids
Have you guys ever
saw.
seen a fire dog or whatever?
A couple times.
Yeah, a few.
I've never even seen a
But
Dalmatian.
anyway,
Now that I think about it, I
I've always wondered why the Dalmatian specifically was always the dog firehouses had.
think it was probably like
Like,
some sort of
what's the
color
lore?
thing. Actually, we
Maybe
can. I can just
I
look
don't
it
know.
up now. There is an
What's
actual
the lore?
explanation because I
We need
remember. I
lore.
remember hearing about it once. I know there's an explanation because I've heard it before. So let me just. Dalmatians are kept at firehouses because they're deaf and wouldn't get spooked by the siren.
Huh.
What?
That doesn't sound right.
Oh, that's a false rumor. Okay. Chris Benoit. Whoa! What the hell?
What?
Okay, I was looking at the quote. I was like, "While all the facts are well founded, there's a common but false rumor that these spotted dogs that breed enthusiasts would like to dispel. It's that Dalmatians are kept to firehouses because they're deaf and the siren does not bother their ears or spook them like they would other dogs. I once heard on national TV and could not believe my ears," says Chris Benoit, the president of Chicagoland Dalmatian Club. So if you don't know, Chris Benoit was a famous wrestler. So I was just like thrown off when I saw this. He infamously killed his wife, kids, and himself. Anyway,
So, this film was directed by Todd Holland, who's mostly worked in directing episodes of TV shows and TV movies. But he does have two other theatrical credits under his name, and his directorial debut was in a film I'm sure you guys have heard of or maybe even seen, The Wizard, the
The
1989 Nintendo commercial.
the Power Glove one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Same director.
Huh. You know,
How that make you feel, white boy?
there's a lot of Sony product placement. Do you think he just like had a falling out with Nintendo and just went to Sony instead and like, hey, can I use your consoles
Maybe.
for my movie? And they said sure.
I don't know. Have you seen The Wizard though?
I have
feel
not
like
seen
you
it in
would've.
full. I just know of the Power Glove scene and the fact that they show off Mario 3 for a little bit before that game came out.
So who knows? Maybe Todd Holland won't be a one-time director here. I don't know. I feel like The Wizard is something we'll eventually get to, but
Probably not in the
I
near
don't know.
future. Sometimes I
No,
even forget that
no.
movie exists.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never really had an interest, but anyway, Todd Holland isn't the only interesting person here because this movie was written by Mike Werb and Michael Colery, and the two of them wrote a movie we recently talked about. They wrote Face Off.
Oh. How do you
I'm
go
not
from
sure what my
Face Off
reaction
to
to that's
this,
supposed
though?
to be.
I don't know. I guess they wanted to branch out. Like, let's make a kids movie now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people got range, so makes sense.
I don't really have much in terms of the production history of Firehouse Dog. It was made and it released. That's the extent that I could find. It released in spring 2007 and it grossed 17.3 million against a budget of number not found. I could not find this movie's budget anywhere. So, guessing it made a decent amount. I don't know. Reviews were pretty mediocre. The world kept spinning. Yeah, this movie had no real impact on anything. So, what happens when the director of The Wizard and the writers of Face Off decide to come together and make a movie about a firehouse dog? Well, let's find out, shall we? So, Firehouse Dog is about a famous Hollywood dog named Rex, spelled with 3 X's, remember that. One day, a film shoot goes wrong, and when the crew can't find Rex anywhere, they presume he's dead. But it's okay, he's not. He managed to eventually find his way to a city where he gets taken in by a firehouse that is on the verge of being shut down. And while
Yeah,
he's
and
there,
then he
gets-
dies.
He doesn't die. There is no dog death. Don't worry.
Yeah,
While he's at the firehouse, he gets acquainted
well.
with.
the firehouse dog doesn't die.
The character of Rex is deceased.
Well, he's presumed anyway. I'm not
Yeah,
done
yeah,
with the
but
plot
not,
synopsis.
in all
We-
seriousness, they don't kill any dogs. A few people.
It's a
but no
funeral
dogs.
scene, though. But we'll get to that. Anyway, Rex is taken in by the firehouse, and he is given the new name Dewey. And while he's at the firehouse, he gets acquainted with the captain's son, who is going through a bit of a difficult time because his uncle recently passed away. And there's also been a series of unexplained explosions and fires happening all over the city. So now Dewey and the boy need to make like Scooby-Doo and solve this mystery. So, what do we think of Firehouse Dog?
It's a perfectly fine kids movie. If I was a kid and you put this on, I'd be like, okay, this is fine. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's like it's inoffensive. It's fine.
So I went in with a very low set of expectations because I thought this would just be like another movie like Hoot and Furry Vengeance where it's a kids movie like with no real substance, but you're still gonna like find a way to like make it like the most complex movie ever made. I will say it is a little bit better than those, at least comparatively to like Furry Vengeance, because that movie did not make me laugh once despite being a comedy. I got a chuckle here and there from this movie, probably not for the reasons they wanted me to laugh, but I still got something out of it compared to that movie. Like there was this one line where I think Joe and a blonde guy, I forget his name, they were trying to like get the fire hose like straightened out, and then he's like, my grandma can straighten hose better than you can. I'm like, how did they put that in a kid's movie?
Like, we know that's not what they meant, but
No, that is absolutely what they meant. This was written by the same people who made Face Off. They knew what they were doing.
I guess, you know. But yeah, there's just a few like cute little lines here. Like, I like when at the end, well, around the midway point, I guess, when Rex's original owners find him and they take him back. Shane, Josh Hutcherson's character, his dad says to him when they take the dog away, I want to say something like to make you feel better, but yeah, no, this sucks. That just got a laugh out of me because like you'd expect him to say something comforting, but no, he's like, no, I'm with you. That and this kind of made me laugh from how unrelated it was, but the dog comes into the firehouse and things get better. Like the kid Shane is actually happy. He's doing better in school, and the fire team is happy and everything. I like how his presence somehow makes that one firefighter a better cook, even though there's no
Because
correlation.
he's shit in the stew, and he's like, well, I can't make this again.
Yeah. So there are some like gross out jokes in this movie. Like the dog shits in the stew, it burps in the kid's face, it farts a few times. I thought that was going to be a lot more prevalent because it's featured a lot in the beginning, but no, they're pretty sparing with it, and so I was thankful for that at least. I mean, if you're a kid, you'll probably like it, but
Do kids
like,
even
I'm
like gross out humor anymore?
I don't know. Like
Yeah.
fart jokes make me laugh, but like be sparing with it. Like don't have that be your only source of comedy. Overall, I'm with Red. It's a decent kids movie. It's not gonna blow your socks off in any way. There's really not much in it for adults, save for like that one line that made us laugh.
That was my biggest takeaway. I'm just gonna be real. Also, the
Again, I
fucking,
saw this.
I like how many fake out deaths they have.
the
Which,
funeral
yeah.
scene, which was set up as like an act, but also real, because like
It
they
was
had
a fake, real funeral scene.
they staged it
Wrap your
for
head around
live
that.
television. They had lighting and like rain effects and everything, but it's also like real in the sense that it was being reported on the news because they couldn't even find Rex, and they're like, well, we got one strand of hair. This is the best we could do. Also, a rubber ducky for some reason.
No, not even a rubber duck, a real duck, and that threw me off so much because it's a funeral. Like, there's dogs there, which makes sense. It's a funeral for a dog. But then at one point, they just pan to a duck, and I'm like, what relevance does the duck have? Like, that makes sense if there were other animals, like cats or whatever, but no, there's just one duck. I'm like, why is it there? What's the lore? I want the Firehouse Dog lore.
Rex's acting was an inspiration for that duck in Jurassic Bark.
Maybe it inspired him to become the spokesman for Aflac. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Maybe,
there's a thing called Jurassic Bark here.
yeah, starring Rex.
I know we asked this before
Also,
when we were watching the movie together, but who do you think Rex would have played? The dinosaur or the people?
Probably the people? I don't know.
They honestly play the dinosaurs. I mean, I think, like Giant Clifford the Red Dog, dinosaurs.
I would pay to
That'd
see
be
that
my
movie.
guess.
Funny, just an island of Cliffords.
I wonder if
Running
Jurassic
amok.
Bark is actually a movie that exists, because there's like there's a Jurassic Shark and there's like other Jurassic Park spoofs.
There's probably
There's a Futurama
cheap,
episode.
low budget film. Yeah, but like a feature film. There's probably some cheap. Like,
Yeah, it's just
blockbuster
giving me
out
the
there.
Futurama episode. Okay, so there wasn't like a legit movie.
That's a damn good episode of
So
Futurama.
far.
Yeah, like it's a fine kids movie. The only two things that bothered me were one, like the gross out was kind of excessive in the beginning, and I wasn't a fan of that. And two, I feel like this movie is too long.
Oh yeah,
Did
it's
you guys
like,
get that?
It's 2 hours long. Like
It's
I
near.
remember
It's
the hour-
9 minutes
when
short
we-
of 2 hours.
It feels like multiple movies, honestly. Like there's several complete arcs. Like I felt like I was watching a TV show, honestly, because like
Yeah,
I remember the halfway point. I hovered over like the screen, and it was like an hour left, and I was like, Jesus! I felt like we already like seen like several like complete arcs. It was like, what the hell?
Yeah, like by the hour point, it's like everybody's happy, and you're like, this could be like a decent pilot episode for like a TV show or something. But then it keeps going, and they introduce plot threads that like they either completely forgot about or they just pull it up. Like the whole thing with there's a guy making bombs out of watches, and that's shown once, and then it's not addressed again until like the last 30 minutes of the movie. It feels like it should have been its own episode of a TV show, but whatever.
or like the rival like fire department.
Yeah, there's that. And also, people who own the people who own Rex when he was an actor, it feels like there should have been like a scene where they realize he's actually alive, because you only see them once in the beginning when the stunt goes wrong, and again for the funeral scene, and then the next time you see them, For some reason, they're at like the fireman
They have a
party,
flashback
and
scene. There's
it's
that one flashback scene.
yeah, but that was before the events of the movie, so it doesn't tie into how they. Why were they at the fire
Yeah, but
party?
it's
That
just
that
reminding you.
confused me. Like,
So
there's
I
no
would have
explanation
assumed
for it.
that they saw Dewey on the news and they're like, "Hey, isn't that Rex? He might be alive. We should go see him." They don't really give us a scene like that. Like I would assume like maybe after the funeral, like they see that news report and they're like, "Oh my god, that's him. Where is he? We got to find him."
Also,
It didn't really bother
Lugia, at
me
one
because like
point,
it's pretty easy to just connect the dots. But yeah,
Lugia, at one point, you said this movie reminded you of Cars.
Cuz okay. So like Rex is a prestigious actor who's got fame and fortune and bitches, literally, and he gets all of that taken away from him from an accident, and then he has a newfound family that he decides to spend his life with, which is basically the same arc as Lightning McQueen, except instead of also dabbling in his dream of being a race car, he gives up his life of acting.
And that just that got me thinking I would love to see ironically, of course, I would love to see a remake of this movie in the world of Cars, where instead of Firehouse Dog, it's Fire Truck. I'd see that. I'd see that Jurassic Bark, and was there another movie we made up?
I don't
um,
think so.
I feel like there was.
Bolt.
Whatever that movie was. What?
I don't know.
Well,
Just remember we talked about Bolt at one point, so I was like, I don't know, Bolt.
yeah. This movie is weird. It reminds me of a lot of movies that came out either after it or around the same time. Like, if you ask me to describe the plot of Firehouse Dog, best way I can put it, it's Bolt meets Playing with Fire. Have you guys seen Playing with Fire?
No, I haven't.
You know what it is, right?
Nope.
It's a movie where John Cena plays a fireman, and he has to take care of 3 lost kids, and they cause havoc.
Oh wait,
I haven't seen
maybe
it.
I have
I
seen
think
that. Okay, that sounds a little familiar.
I haven't seen
Wait,
it.
I haven't seen it, but I saw like a trailer for it once. It was like what
Mhm.
John Cena is. What was it again? John Cena as well.
John Cena is a fireman. He's looking after 3 kids who are lost,
Yeah,
and
I
they
saw a
cause a
trailer for
mess.
that. I obviously, Lugia, you obviously didn't see it because we were already like in college by the time that came out.
Oh, okay. I might have been thinking of like another
That
wrestler who was like in his
we weren't
own
the
movie.
we weren't the target audience. I say
Yeah,
that as
playing
we're
with
sitting here discussing Firehouse Dog.
Playing with Fire came out in 2019. We were already in college by then.
Sorry, John Cena, I'm skipping this one. That's the
No,
best way I can put it.
well,
And
maybe I have.
weird.
I need to look at a screenshot.
I really
If
doubt
it,
you've seen
Also, I
this
think I
movie. I think you've
realized,
seen a trailer
if I
though,
did
because they
see
used
it,
to
it
play this.
definitely wasn't by choice. Trust me.
and I realized
Um,
this movie in my head kind of blends with the Underdog movie, which, funny enough, released just a few months after this one. Because that's also about a father-son relationship that kind of gets mended when this strange dog comes into their lives. Have you guys seen the Underdog movie?
Yes.
once.
Saw it years ago, but that's about it. But it's weird. Like, this and Firehouse Dog are kind of very similar. Only difference is here the dog doesn't talk, and I'm actually very
That
grateful
is
for that.
something that I was kind of afraid of. Like when we started watching it, I thought the dog would just talk and it would just be like Airbud or like one of those a talking animal movie.
He doesn't.
Like you know a talking
Airbud
cat. I thought
doesn't
it would be
talk.
something like that.
Yeah,
Airbud
Airbud
doesn't
doesn't
talk.
talk, but yeah, I was expecting this to be a lot wackier than it was. Like, again, I remember in Airbud there was a whole subplot where these 2 people are trying to steal the dog, and it's like antics and slapstick. I really thought that was going to be the case with the 2 people from Hollywood trying to get the dog back, but again, they're only in 3 scenes, so I guess I'm grateful they didn't do that.
Okay, I don't think I've seen Playing with Fire in full. I've definitely seen like bits and pieces of it. I don't remember the movie as a whole though.
Again, that's the best way I can describe Firehouse Dog. Bolt meets Playing with Fire. This movie also kind of reminded me of like a lot of early 2000s movies because in the beginning there's when you first meet Shane, he's skateboarding with like punk rock music playing and it cuts back to the school he's supposed to be at. But even then, they kind of flip that where instead of him being late for school, it's him leaving school in the middle of the day, which is interesting. Like that's an interesting twist. You think he'd be late, but no, he's leaving
Oh man, science
because he's
class,
trying to get
I'm
out of the
out of
test.
here.
But yeah, no, like that skateboarding scene with the punk rock music, even though they flip it, you've seen that in like every 2000s movie. Like Red, you brought up Big Fat Liar as a comparison.
So I have a question for Pat. How many conspiracies can we come up with since this is like the new Hoot?
The new Hoot. Oh, we're going there. All right. Well, I don't think anything will out Hoot Hoot, but I do have a theory. So I can't find this movie's budget anywhere. My guess is that it's way too big, and they don't want us to know about it, and that it contributed to the Great Recession.
What?
As the Great Recession happened in late 2007, maybe all that money went to Firehouse Dog, and they needed desperately to try to get it back somehow. That's my conspiracy. Firehouse Dog caused the Great Recession.
Okay.
I can't prove I'm right, but you also can't prove that I'm not right.
Yeah, it's unfalsifiable.
Because, I mean, it was a housing crisis, and in the movie, they're in danger of losing the firehouse.
From a
Coincidence?
fire.
Fires had nothing to do with the Great Recession.
Fire
So there's
sale.
there's my conspiracy.
Like
That's
I'm
my
imagining the
conspiracy.
Arrested Development thing. It's like, oh my god, there's a fire sale.
Oh yeah. At one point, one of the scenes I did remember from this movie, because I only remembered a few things. The one scene that I did remember the most was the scene where Dewey, whatever, the dog is on the obstacle course, and for some reason, "Move Along" by All American Rejects is the song they decided to have accompany that scene.
I do not understand that decision. I mean,
I mean, at the end,
I get the title "Move Along," like the dog is moving and he's gonna win, but he doesn't. But that song, when you actually listen to it, it means something else entirely. That does not match the tone of the scene.
at the end of the scene, when he's near the end of the obstacle course, he has a vision of his ex-girlfriend.
Also through
So
a ring of
maybe
fire.
he's
Why did
trying.
they light the ring with fire? That's fucking
Again,
dangerous.
it was sponsored and put together by the Firehouse. So if anything were to happen, they would be on it.
Were they on duty though? It looks like they were all just relaxing. Did anyone have a fire hose ready in case something did happen?
Probably.
Maybe they had a
I
bucket
want you to go
somewhere, I
back
don't know.
and point where specifically in that scene. I
I
want
don't know.
proof.
Does any of this matter? I don't know.
It
Who
doesn't.
knows?
Probably not. But I don't know. I bring it up because "Move Along," that is such a nostalgic song to me. Like I associate that so heavily with like the mid 2000s. Because I remember my dad had a CD with that song on it, and like whenever we would drive anywhere, he'd play that CD. I don't know. What song do you guys heavily associate with the mid 2000s?
By Outkast. Crazy by Gnarls Barkley.
Probably like Misery Business from Paramore.
Firehouse Dog, you are quite an enigma. You're a movie that feels like it's from the early 2000s, that released in the late 2000s, that reminds me of movies that came out in the late 2010s. You are an enigma. I don't know. I think I've had my fun. Firehouse Dog is a perfectly decent kids movie, but not really much more than that.
It's better than I gave it credit for. I'll give it that. It's not amazing, but it's not awful.
Yeah, I was expecting something really stupid or childish, but it's decent. Like I can see kids getting into this just fine, especially if they're into firefighting. I wasn't that kid, but your kid might be. Any final thoughts, Red?
Nope.
All right, so it is your turn.
Yes, it is. I was kind of struggling to come up with what I was thinking because I was like, oh, maybe I'll do radio days, but I was like, nah, I kind of want to save that for later. And we just did 2 movies in a row featuring kids. It was like, I'll save that for later. I was thinking like I could do another Japanese flick, but I was thinking maybe not. And so instead, I guess here's your options. Do you want to do an anime or do you want to do an 80s comedy?
Oh, I'll go for the 80s comedy.
I'll go for the 80s comedy too. At last,
All
we
right.
agree on a decision, Lugia.
All right. So, earlier I said I was, thinking about recommending a Woody Allen film, but instead we're going to be looking at a filmmaker who is very similar. You know him from Finding Nemo and The Simpsons, Albert Brooks, and
Okay.
his film Modern Romance from 1981.
No, I've heard of Modern Romance before.
I don't know if you have. It's not a
Sounds
super popular film.
vaguely familiar.
I only know about it because I'm a
Modern
fan of Albert Brooks. I never heard about it
romance.
till I looked into Albert Brooks's filmography. As a kid, my dad showed me one of his 2005 film, Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World, but that's it. But yeah, all of
Maybe
his movies are pretty
Elias ran
good.
this by me at one point.
Yeah, all of his movies are pretty good. You got Defending Your Life, Modern Romance, Lost in America. I haven't seen Real Life yet, which I plan to, but yeah. Yeah, Modern Romance. It's kind of like a Woody Allen romance flick, but less nebbish, more. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah.
All right, Modern Romance is next. This has been It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. Firehouse Dog.